What's going on, everybody? Tim from Tierfon Orbital. It's a Darksaber kind of day. I'm going to be filming two Darksaber videos, so this is going to be the first. Both are completely different hilts, though, from different manufacturers, so I'm going to go over the differences of both. First up, this is a Malibu Props Darksaber. From what I understand, this is a very rare Darksaber, as it was a small run. I think they started the run back in 2020, actually, and I'm not sure if they did any follow-up runs after that. I think they did a small batch of like 25 hilts. So the production of this started on RPF, and that's where it gained interest, and I'm not sure if they did any runs after that first one. So I'm actually not sure if this has even been, I haven't seen any videos or posts about it being installed. It's definitely rare, in my opinion. The Darksaber isn't rare. I mean, I think every company has a version of the Darksaber, even Electrum. I think even like Ultra Sabers has a Darksaber-ish hilt. Yeah, the chassis was definitely different. It had some different components in it than I'm used to, so we're going to go over that, and we're going to go over the hilt as well, and then we're going to put a blade in it. This does not take a regular 1-inch or 7/8 inch stem blade. This is a very special blade. The blade was made by Devin Clark, so it's a Darksaber blade. Really, really awesome blade as well. So we'll go over all of that, and I'll do a little demo, and then we'll be on our way on to the next Darksaber video. So here it is, the Malibu Props Darksaber. This is a little different than some of the other Darksabers that are out there. It's way more blacked out and darker, which I actually prefer. I like the look of this Darksaber. I really like the way the grip feels. It's hard to describe. It's not like a smooth aluminum. It almost feels a little pitted. I prefer the look and the feel of this one. We've got a D-ring at the bottom, single button setup, and here is the business end. This is actually a blade plug that I believe shipped. The client sent it with this in it. The client did purchase this on the marketplace, I believe, or used, but this blade plug was in it. I don't know if this came with it initially or what. But anyhow, so that's it. Really simple. The pommel is a screw-in pommel. So there's I think it's a number 5 Allen key, single hex screw at the bottom there. So you want to unscrew that to put your chassis in, okay? So let's talk about this chassis really quick. The chassis was designed by Sam over at Shadowfoil, and it's got two things that are different to the typical builds that you see and the builds that I do, right? So firstly is the battery is a 16650 battery. It's a skinnier battery. I've not used these in any of my builds, so I actually had to purchase this battery. To the client, I'm going to be shipping with this because you do need a battery. So the battery sits in the tray here. The other thing, given the inner diameter and the inner dimensions of this hilt, the chassis only accepts like a slim profile, like pancake style speaker. So that's what is installed in this, and it actually sounds really, really good. I was surprised at how well it sounds. So Proffie sits here. The Proffie kind of slides in if you need to get it out, but you shouldn't because you've got access to the USB and the SD card at the bottom here. Okay, there is an onboard tactile button that there's a plunger switch on the hilt that depresses into that, and here is the specialized pogo pin emitter section. This is what connects to the blade. Okay, so there's the chassis, nice and simple. Okay, to put the chassis in, so to use the chassis, to use the saber, you want to take your battery. The negative side is towards the speaker, so you take your flat part of your battery, put it in the battery tray, okay, and hit your kill switch.
You have something I want.
So to slide the chassis in, like I said, the chassis only goes in one way. You kind of have to feel for it, and it slides past. There's like a ridge here that you have to slide past and just push it all the way till it stops. Then you want to take your pommel. Now the pommel's got that long hex screw in it, okay? There's a hole in the chassis. I would start off by putting that long hex screw in that hole and slide it all the way in, and then you want to tighten your set screw at the bottom until it stops. Okay? And then you're ready to go. It is a single button setup. I also want to mention the client did request that I add some venting shine through, not shine through, but there's on the original hilt these are just open, but I put some frosted, like two frosted resin panels on each side to help with the diffusion on the blade, right? So once you put it in, you're good to go. So let's come down to the bottom here. So this is a single button setup. I do want to say too, so the switch that came with this, it's one of those plunger aluminum switches, and this is not specific to this hilt. It's these switches. Sometimes they get hung up on the housing. So there's an aluminum switch up top here, and it's screwed into a black aluminum housing, and sometimes it just gets hung up on itself. So that's not the switch getting stuck on the inside. It's getting stuck on this upper lip, which is super annoying, but it's not. It's just that I've seen that happen with these plunger switches before. Okay, but that's it. Let's put a blade in it. I will show off this blade. So this blade, man, wow. Devin Clark made this blade. He makes these for the Malibu props run. It's a very specialized connector, okay? And I want to make sure, so to the client, this red mark, Devin actually made this before he shipped it to me. This is to indicate the positive lead for the blade, okay? You want to make sure that that red mark is facing towards the switch. Okay, so the switch is up here, up top, facing up. Here's that red mark, so that'll be facing up. So you want to make sure you're putting the blade in that way. So to give a better idea, I guess you would say, yeah, I guess just make sure you're putting that red side up towards the switch. Okay, there is a little bit of resistance when putting the blade in. Okay, you just want to slide it until it stops, right? There are 4 smaller set screws around the outside of the hilt. You want to tighten those to tighten the blade down. Now what I do is I kind of try to tighten them all equally. So I'll do 2 on one side. Just tighten them until they're snug. And then do the 2 on the other side. And then I go back again and just really make sure they're nice and tight. That way it's all like depressing evenly on each side of that blade. Okay? And then you're ready to go. There it is. So not the typical like 28mm bass speaker that we're used to. In the config, I don't have this cranked up all the way. I'm not really familiar with these pancake speakers. I'm not familiar with, what the top level of volume setting in a Proffie is for them. I don't want to blow it out. So, yeah. I mean, it doesn't sound terrible. It doesn't sound terrible for a pancake speaker. So, and there's that shine through on those little resin windows that I created. So this is a single button setup. I did set it up with twist to activate. Okay, to change fonts when the hilt is off, you have to point it up and hold down the button and release.
The dark sword.
And that'll switch your fonts. I've got a bunch of just like Darksaber themed fonts on here. So single tap to activate, single tap to retract. To play soundtrack, it's a long press and release while the hilt is on or while the blade is on. Let's see what else we've got on here.
Just a simple wonder.
A couple of different blade animations, right? But the blade, man, look at how, I mean, it's super flexy. This thing is rad. Really, really cool blade. Really awesome blade. I've been swinging this thing around. I mean, I really have. I've been putting it through the ringer here. Just super cool. Super cool piece. Super cool, super unique, right? So to the client, thank you very much for trusting me with your install. To the viewers, thanks everybody for watching. If anyone has any questions about this build or anything, just leave a comment, like and subscribe. If you don't want to do that, that's fine too. And with that being said, may the force be with you always.